When we are seniors in our golden years, what's the way to conduct ourselves? What's the appropriate right way to live that phase of life? In the Indian tradition, as you know, we have the different phases of our lives. And the final phase is this phase that's called sannyasa. And that phase of sannyasa is a time in which we pull away from things of the world. First, we spend our lives, youth, doing our education, getting ourselves set, our education, our family. Then we retire, start to pull away. And then ultimately in this phase, this sannyasa phase of life, we're supposed to pull away fully. But that doesn't necessarily have to be on a physical level. Many times, physically we pull away. We may leave the family and come and move in an ashram. But if our minds are still there, if our attachment is still there, then we're still there. You know, Puja Swamiji always says, just because you're a saint meditating in a cave doesn't necessarily mean that they're free from all of that which binds us. There's many people living in families in the world who are actually living lives that are much more spiritual, much more detached on a spiritual level than some of the spiritual people living in caves. So it's not so much necessarily a matter of physically where you have to be, as what your attention has to be. We've done our task. We've gotten our education, we've accumulated money, we've had our family, we've raised our children, we've educated them, we've given them careers, we've gotten them married. It's a cycle that never ends. There's a great story of a disciple and his guru, and the disciple is living in an ashram with his guru, and he says to the guru, you know, I'm living here, and he was a young disciple, he says, I'm living here, but my mind is really on the outer world. I want to know, what's it like? What would it be like to, you know, have a family and live in that world? So I think, he says, I'm thinking, Guruji, maybe I should go. He says, I'll just experience it once, and then I'm going to come right back. But he said, I want my mind to at least know what it's like. Otherwise, maybe I'll have regrets my whole life. So the Guru says, Chalo, okay. Take 10 years. Take 10 years. Go out. Get yourself married. Have your family. Do your thing. In 10 years, come back. So 10 years later, of course he doesn't come back, but 10 years later at his house, there's a knock on the door. And his wife answers the door, and there's this old man asking for her husband. So the husband comes and immediately recognizes his guru, falls at his guru's feet, and the guru says, okay, now come with me. And the guy says, no, I can't, because you see, my children, they're very young. My poor wife, she'd be all alone. What's she gonna do? 3 mouths to feed. The kids are toddlers. You can see that yourself. We just got our house. I need, just give me another 5 years. Just to get them settled. Just let the kids grow a little more. I'll leave my wife some money in the bank. So the Guru goes away. He gives him not 5 years, he gives him 10 years. 10 years later, he comes back. Says to the man, okay, now what? Man says, oh God, I'd love to come, but now we've got grandkids and they're babies and they really need me because my son, he's out working and he's out all day long and they really need somebody to take care of the grandkids. Just a few more years. 5 years later, the Guru comes back and immediately sees the man's not there, but there's this dog in front of the house, and he recognizes in the dog that this is his disciple. And he says, now what? And the disciple says, yes, you know, I died and I've been reincarnated as this dog to protect them, but I have to stay here just another couple years because they're doing very well, but now they have so many enemies and everybody's out to get them. And that's why I'm here as this dog, to protect them. Guruji, just another couple years. Guru goes, he comes back a few years later, and he knocks on the door, and these young children come and answer the door. And the Guru says, go upstairs. He says, upstairs, near where that safe is. He said, you have a safe upstairs? And the children said, yes, I know, we know where it is. And he says, in the wall next to the safe, you will find a hole in the wall. In the hole in that wall, there is a snake. Bring me that snake. Do not kill it, but just break its back so that he doesn't hurt you. And then bring me that snake. So the children, of course, are very surprised, but they do what this old saint tells them to do. They go in, they break the back of the snake, they bring it, and they say, but how did you know? I mean, you've never been to our house before. How did you know there was a snake in a hole in the wall? The Guru says, no problem, just go back inside. He takes the snake, he slings it over his back, and he walks away. And as he walks away, he speaks to his disciple now in the form of the snake. And he says, see, he said, there's no end. You came back now as the snake to protect the wealth. First it was the wife and the kids, then it was the grandkids, then you needed to come back as a dog to take care. Now it's a snake to protect the wealth, to be near the safe. There's no end. There's no such thing as just one more time, as just another year. You have to draw that line, because life doesn't stop. 1 minute it's the spouse, then it's the kids, then it's the grandkids, then it's the grandkids' wedding, then it's the grandkids something or other. And so when we reach this phase of life, the teaching is a renunciation. But what's important is that doesn't mean you abandon them. And this is a really important distinction. It doesn't mean I don't see you, I don't talk to you, I don't care about you, I forget your birthdays. It doesn't mean that. What it means is that inside me, I am not stuck. I am not sitting in my meditation. I'm unable to meditate because I'm wondering how my grandson is doing on his math exam today. I tutored him last night. Did he really remember it all? Did he not remember it? I hope he remembers it. Oh, I forgot to give him that very special trick to do long division. And then your whole meditation is gone. So it's much more an inner state of renunciation. If you can come and live in an ashram, nothing like it. That's the ideal situation. You come, you live out the golden years in sadhana, in seva. You've spent your whole life working for yourself, for your family. Now you give your energy and your experience and your expertise for the world. Your family expands. When we talk about sannyasa being a renunciation of family, it doesn't literally mean I have no family. What it means is the world is my family. I've gone from having a family of 2 or 4 to having a family of all of creation. 7 billion humans, as many animals, as many plants. Doesn't mean I don't care about anything. It means I care about everyone. Vasudev Kutumbakam. The world is a family. Up until the sannyas phase, my family is my family, my blood family. When I take sannyas, the world becomes my family. So this is why the tradition says you come to an ashram, you do your sadhana, you do your seva, you serve the world. The family will take care of itself. But it doesn't mean that you have to cut them off entirely. They come and visit, you go and visit. But just that there should be a very beautiful and a very natural stage of preparation for departure from the planet. Otherwise, when our physical body departs, if we're still that attached, if we haven't let go of the minute-to-minute, moment-to-moment attachment to the form, then we're not able to let go when death comes. And this is what creates, literally the bondage of the soul. When they talk about the soul being stuck, not being able to really, to go, to attain that union with God, to go on its journey. It happens when we're too stuck here. And so the phase of sannyas is sort of a preparatory phase of God, whether I've got 2 years left or 20 years left. These are my golden years. At some point, I'm going to return to you. At some point, my form is going to change again. It's changed from young boy to young man, to middle-aged man, to old man. Then it's going to change to ashes. Another change of form. And I need to prepare myself for that. And that's what this phase of sannyas does. So, if you can do it, nothing like it. It becomes a benefit to your own spiritual growth, to your preparation for that final transformation. And you're able to be a boon, a benefit to the whole world, where you've been a benefit to your family. Now you're able to be a benefit to the global family. And the rest of the family will take care of themselves. We hear so many youth all the time say, I don't need their money. I want to make it on my own. So many youth these days say, yeah, I know that, mom and dad have set me up in this business. My dad, my uncle, they've got this business. But I don't want their business. I don't want their money. I want to do it on my own. I want to make it on my own. This is the youth of today. So they're set in so many ways. And now it's time for us to shift that focus onto our spiritual growth and onto service of the whole world. This is actually something that applies in the spirit of it to all of the phases of our life. There's not a phase of our life where we're taught you should be singularly attached to the things of this world. We work for them, but not to get attached to them, whatever phase we're in. Ultimately, if we haven't learned it before, we learn it in sannyas. But ideally, we learn it even in the earlier phases. Ideally, even in the householder stage. We're able to be working, to be serving, to have the family, to be connected, to be doing our duty, without being attached in a way that it ends up thwarting the actual purpose of what we came here for, which is our own awakening. Our love, our relationships, our duty, our karma can be a way of expanding our consciousness. A great path to awakening. But if we get stuck, then it actually thwarts that progress. And so all of this is actually stuff for the other phases as well.